I think we'll kick it off now. Thank you for everyone joining. We're very excited to kick off our first workshop of the year with, of course, the brains behind our marketing. So very excited for everyone to join us this morning. So this morning we're going to be learning about social media marketing, right? Which is so important, and it's a great way to really get your name out there. So before we get started, I will say this is a recorded session because we'll be posting this video on our website. So if there are any questions that you don't want recorded, stay a little bit after once we stop recording, and we'll go ahead and give you that opportunity. But just wanted to put that out there as well. So the name of our workshop today is Beyond the Clicks with Up Advertising. So it's digital marketing, how to create more traction with your digital presence. So for each post that you get out there, how do you gain more traction with it, right? There's always an idea of why things are done the way that they are. And of course, we have the two lovely ladies that are the brains and creative artists really behind all of the marketing with the Michigan Hispanic Chamber. So we have Alejandra Peláez with the Chief Commercial Brain with Up Advertising, and Catalina Echeverry with our account executive with Up Advertising. So with that being said, my name is Laura Geftos with the Michigan Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Really great to partner with them. And if you want to have any questions, you can always put it in the chat or leave it at the end, like I said. But I'm going to go ahead and give the floor to these lovely ladies.
Thank you so much, Laura. Hi, everybody. I am Catalina Echeverry. I will be leading the English version of this webinar today. And as Laura said, if you have any questions, please put it in the chat and I will get to them at the end. And thank you so much for being here. I'm excited to teach you about digital marketing and its ever-growing need, really. So this is Beyond the Clicks. It is a holistic understanding of the digital market and practical tools to navigate it successfully. I'm Catalina, as you know, and we can go start. Navigating the digital market successfully. What we're going to talk about today is the following. We're going to talk about understanding the digital market, an anatomy of a successful digital strategy, the power of data, the future of the digital market, different conclusions that we have come to as an agency and as experts in this field, and then we can go on to a little Q&A session. So understanding the market. Well, I think we just got some new people. Let me just. Okay. So understanding the digital market. So recent data shows that there are 5.4 billion internet users worldwide. 70% visit the internet daily, which leads to 2.5 trillion clicks a day and 500 clicks per day per person. Now, I use the internet every day. We're using it right now. I don't know about you, but sometimes I do get scared when I see my screen time on my phone, measuring all the time I've been. So this is something that has become an ingrained area of our life. This is something that we can no longer escape if we're going to work in the modern world, if we're going to grow as professionals or grow as businesses. So it's important to keep that in mind, that the digital market is just as, if not more important now than the brick and mortar market at this point. So little kind of description is that this digital market is dynamic. It's constantly changing. It's an ecosystem where all interactions, relationships, different kinds of strategies and executions and dynamics between stakeholders, consumers, companies, it's all based on a single click. We're talking to each other with just clicks and ones and zeros, and it has turned into a whole new world. Now, what are the benefits of this? What are the benefits of you being here, learning more about the digital sphere and this kind of ethereal place that you can only access through a phone or a tablet or a computer? Well, competitiveness. This is where everybody is learning about different companies, learning about industries the branding, what brand speaks to your consumers, how do you reach your audience, what kind of products is your competitor selling, how are they marketing it, how is it reaching their consumers. It's important because there are not only industries within the world that can be leveraged and enhanced through the digital market, but now there are digital industries, there are digital products that can only enhance your current business or be your current business. Being in this sphere and learning about it means that there are different identification of opportunities. Every year, there are so many new developments of what is possible on the internet, what is possible through technology. And that means not only opportunities for what kind of product I can sell, but opportunities for, how can this help me run my business more smoothly? How can this make my life easier so that we're optimizing our resources and we are optimizing our processes? And how can this help me through all of these tools also improve my relationship with my main stakeholder, my consumers, my customers? So all of this is really important when learning that technology is not just ones and zeros anymore. It is a whole world of communication, of relationships, strategies, and transactions, but also a whole new way to sell, a whole new way to build a business. Now I'm going to go through, this is kind of be a list of and kind of description of different areas of the digital market. I apologize if it's a little bit long, but I really want you to understand the different areas because all of these matter. So first, I'm sure all of you know what e-commerce is. Clicking on Amazon, ordering something online, you're basically on a digital shop, adding to cart, checkout, and it shows up at your front door. Everybody knows what e-commerce is. Then we go to digital marketing. Now, digital marketing is more than just having a Facebook page. It's more than that. It is how do you communicate your brand and your value proposition through several different digital channels? How do you communicate your values and what you can offer to your audience? And what are the best ways to reach your audience? So digital marketing, it's branding, it's messaging, it's targeted, consistent messaging, and so much more. And we're going to get a little bit more into that in the deeper into the presentation. Now you have info products or digital products. This is informational products such as webinars, like what we're here doing right now, workshops, ebooks, anything that you can use that's informational and that you can purchase or participate in online. We also have the enhancement of a collaborative economy. For example, let's say you are trying to produce shoes, but you don't have the right materials. Through the digital market and the digital sphere, you're able to more easily access potential partners for this kind of business. It's easier to find out, okay, maybe I can collaborate with this small, community that creates leather, for example. And that way you have a collaborative community. And it was easier to do instead of, traveling the world trying to find the right materials. You're able to now do a better search and optimize your time through digital markets and digital spheres. Information security. Everybody wants your data. This is not the first time I'm going to say this, but everybody wants your data. And it's for a good reason. Well, it's for a practical reason, and everybody wants it. We'll go into more detail about why, but this means that there's a need to secure and protect your data. So information security is the ever-growing area of the digital market, and it's one that we need, really. Freelance work. I know some of you have heard about people working their jobs from an island in Mexico, for example. And this is possible because of freelance work. You can create your websites, you can design your products, you can even be digital administrators, digital assistants through this kind of freelance work. The job market of today is so different than what it looked like, decades ago, even in the 90s, because now there's so many more opportunities and industries that are growing within the internet and the digital market. For example, programming and development. Where programming and development is constantly evolving. You have, I don't even know how many different companies in Silicon Valley are constantly trying to fight each other to see who's going to get, the best kind of code. And, I'm not a programmer, but I see that this is like a huge, huge industry where everybody's trying to have the most optimized codes, the most optimized programming, seamless, no bugs. Everyone's trying to have the best systems and products when it comes to how, this computer, the way that we're looking at each other right now is through programming, and very complicated programming to have, upwards of 15 people on one call seeing just my presentation. So it's ever changing, always growing. And it's very important to have in mind when, marketing your businesses online, because a seamless website or an easy to navigate website isn't very important to make the customer journey as seamless as possible. And, coming away from freelance work as well, we have content creation. These are your artists, digital creators, your user-generated content, your videographers, your copywriters, everybody writing content on the internet. And going back to data, all of this has grown and evolved due to data analytics. We would not know what works and what continues to work if we don't analyze data, if we don't analyze our consumers' behavior, if we don't analyze the success rate of the clicks on our website, the engagement rate of the video that we posted on Instagram. All of this is data and analyzing data. So now that we've learned about the main areas of the digital market, we're going to go through the anatomy of a successful strategy. The first and most important thing that you must need is a clear objective or objectives. It is more than fine to have kind of happy surprises at the end of your strategy that, oh, I'm so glad this happened. But if you don't know what you want going into something, there's no way to create a strategy around it. And from that, you also need to know who your audience is. So let's say that you are a coffee shop. Let's say that you own a coffee shop. Who is going to your coffee shop? It's probably not other coffee shop owners, unless they're trying to scope out their competition. It's probably people who are, working in the morning or going to chat with their friends. And, probably it depends on the kind of aesthetic that your coffee shop has, whether it's more of an artsy aesthetic, more of like a business aesthetic. It's important to know who is coming to purchase your coffee and why. Why do they want that? What about your coffee shop stands out of the millions that exist? So it's important to understand that, or who you want to attract. And with that, you need to tailor your content and your messaging to the audience that you want to attract. So you wouldn't have a cat cafe for dog lovers. You're not going to have that. You have to know that your audience, if you know your audience, you know what they're going to be looking for. So, for example, some coffee shops have free treats for their dogs when dog people come in. And so you can always put that as part of your messaging. Come in for a latte and grab a free treat for your dog. And then you have to know what channels do these people go. It would make no sense to market your coffee shop on Facebook if everybody coming into your store is on Instagram? So why waste your time? If that's not the channel that they're using, there's no point in putting all that effort and money into that. So knowing which digital channel is also extremely important. And so all of this kind of comes into a sales funnel. You've got attraction and then lead generation. And so when you're attracting your audience, anybody who engages with your content is now a lead, which is then turns into a sale. And if they are satisfied, then they can become loyal customers, bring referrals, and bring you repeat business. Now, something very important to note is that throughout this whole process, you can't look at all the results of your data and at the end. I would say start looking at data as early as 2 weeks into your strategy, because this way you're able to optimize what is working and what isn't. You know, if you sent out an ad on Instagram for 2-for-1 matcha lattes, and there's only like 2 to 3 people kind of engaging, no one's really interested, then you don't have to keep running that ad for the rest of the month. There's no point if it's not getting any traction. So that way, if you're constantly looking at the results and the engagement that you're getting, any kind of response from your audience, you're able to optimize. And then maybe you can try a 2-for-1 for vanilla lattes. And then you realize, oh, the people who come to my coffee shop, they just want coffee. They don't want matcha. They just want a cup of joe. And so you get to learn your audience better, and you get to, you don't waste as much time trying to figure out if something will work when you're already seeing if it's working or not. This is a little graphic of the sales funnel that I was talking about. You have attraction, capturing your audience's attention. Any kind of engagement leads to conversion. That's a lead. And when you turn a lead into a sale through direct and frequent contact, let's say email marketing, or having them follow you on Instagram and constantly, posting things that you think that they will want to see, they can turn into repeat customers. They can have referrals and create a base of customer loyalty. And now that we've talked a little bit about your strategy, we're going to get into the nitty-gritty about the power of data. Now, again, everybody wants your data. Everyone wants your data. Everyone's fighting over it. Everybody wants your data. But why? Why has this become such a huge thing? Why does somebody care if I'm, buying a set of mugs at 2 a.m.? Why? Who cares about this? And I'll tell you why. It's because sales people, if they understand who their audience is and their behavior, then they can give you exactly what you want or what they think you want. So, for example, Netflix understands their viewers' behavior through the previous behavior. They see all the actions that you take in Netflix, and they compile it into an algorithm. So let's say I'm watching a scary movie and I'm like, oh, actually, I don't really like scary movies, and I exit the movie halfway through. But I watch a movie on a romantic comedy, and I watch that all the way through. Netflix is going to take note of how long I stayed in different genres of content and promote more romantic movies and suggest more romantic movies. And let's say I binge watch a TV show and I barely watch movies, then it's going to suggest more TV shows than movies. It's going to learn from my behavior, and it's going to suggest things that they think I will like. And as we've seen, Netflix has done a great job of this. They have been able to sort of really see how behavior turns into data, turns into sales, and turns into engagement. They're able to really hook their users. We see another version of this automation in Amazon. I'm going to admit Perla. And Amazon, for example, let's say you buy a toothbrush every 3 months. I'm not sure if that's too little or too long, but let's say Amazon is keeping track of your purchases, and it's going to suggest, well, you do this every 3 months. Why don't you just automate your purchase? And I'll give you like $1 off. And that's just, it's easy, it's convenience. It's convenience for the user, but it's repeat sales for Amazon. And so it's a very, convenience is very tied into data, because the more they learn about you, the more they can make your life easier, and the more that you don't have to think about what you're spending on. And then we see predictive analytics. Starbucks is a good example of this because it has made data-driven decisions to reduce errors and increase the chances of success. And so they kind of know, they have their formula down, they have their flavors down. And something that I find really, really interesting about Starbucks, and I'll be honest, I'm not really a huge Starbucks drinker, but when I have, traveled, something I notice is it tastes the same everywhere you go. Every single place that you go, the Starbucks tastes the same. And that is consistency. They know what has worked, and they know that the work that they've done to reduce errors and increase satisfaction, they know that no matter where they're placed in the world, if an American goes there, they're going to know exactly what to expect. Now, of course, these are really huge companies, and you're thinking probably to yourself, how can I play any kind of role in data when I don't have the software they do? I don't have, the labor force to analyze all of this data and to create different kinds of strategies. But this is just kind of I gave you a really big example to make it clear how this works, but data is everywhere and in everything you see. Even in sending a simple email to your consumer base and seeing how many people opened it, how many people didn't, you can start to see patterns of behavior. For example, we sometimes do A/B testing for emails, where we will send one email to half our base in the morning and one email to half our base in the night. And we do this sometimes just to see what is the best time to send an email. When are they gonna really read it and really absorb the information we're sending? Now, funnily enough, the results were pretty much the same. So we're gonna try again with different hours to see if there's any difference. But you really start to see, you're probably not gonna get a lot of people opening their emails at 7 a.m., but at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m., they will. And it's a lot of kind of just paying attention to the data, getting to know your audience, getting to know their behaviors, so that you can kind of tailor to their satisfaction, tailor to their needs, and in a sense, make it more convenient for them to engage with you. So now that we've talked about data, I want to make a clear distinction between what metrics are and what KPIs are. In marketing, you talk a lot about KPIs, and KPIs are not necessarily metrics. They are, but they're different. Metrics are quantifiable measurements that track performance, and they are part of KPIs. KPIs are metrics that measure progress towards specific goals. So a KPI, for example, can be, I want higher engagement in my post. I want more followers on my platforms, or I want more participation in my events that I'm promoting on my platforms. So these are KPIs. These are goals that we use metrics and our progress and our results in order to see how close we are to getting to our goals. So now we're going into the no-nos. These are things you should not do when entering the digital market. 1, if you believe that content is unnecessary or irrelevant, then the digital market, you're never going to be successful in the digital market, because content is king, and it must be frequent, it must be consistent with your branding, and it must be frequent. Because if you don't post for, let's say, about 3 months, and then you're posting again, the algorithm has forgotten your face, and people are not seeing your brand. Content is so necessary, and it's not just to play the algorithm. It's not just to play the game. It's because people need to know who you are. In the age of information, you know, we have so many options of where to choose, where we buy from, where what news we consume. It's important to know, for audience to know who you are, because that way they can connect with you. If you connect with your audience through your consistent branding, through your frequent posting, through the content that communicates your brand, your value, your, who you are in general, people are able to connect with you, and you're able to connect with the right audiences. Another important lesson is thinking that you must be present on all channels. You don't need to be on every single channel that exists. If your follower base, if your audience doesn't use YouTube, there's no reason for you to be on YouTube. If your audience doesn't use X, there's no reason for you to be on X. If you see engagement in Instagram and Facebook or in LinkedIn or through emails, be where your audience is. You're going to waste your time if you're where they're not, and you're trying to constantly convince them to see you there. Meet them where they are. And last but not least, running paid advertisements without understanding the tools and understanding them. Running a paid advertisement just to run it, it's not going to be very strategic in getting to your goals. Most of all because it doesn't communicate what you're asking. So if you just post your new logo, let's say you have a paid advertisement of you meeting a celebrity in front of your cafe, your new cafe. People aren't going to know why they're seeing this as a sponsored post. There needs to be a call to action. There needs to be, hey, come to my cafe and maybe you'll meet this celebrity, kind of things like that. You need to communicate and invite your audience. But also, it's very useful to have paid advertising for specific events, for example. Let's say your cafe is holding an open mic night. Then you can have kind of a paid advertisement to be like, come to the open mic night. You'll have an espresso on us, and call to action. You need to engage them. You need to understand, what is the purpose of paying for this ad, or am I just wasting my money? It needs to be part of a strategy, and it needs to be used as a tool instead as of a base. So now we're going to talk about the future of the digital market. I know everyone's been talking about it, but artificial intelligence in marketing. Artificial intelligence in marketing has blown up. Whether it be organizing contacts on a CRM, whether it be helping you do research on an industry or on an audience, or create copies for content, or even helping you check if your strategy makes sense. If you're writing a strategy for a specific company or specific campaign, and you're thinking, okay, so I have the audience, I have the message, and I have my goals. If you put it, let's say, through ChatGPT or artificial intelligence, a tool, it'll be like, but where's your channel? What channels are you going to use? It's going to help reduce error and optimize processes. Another thing that's been blowing up lately is augmented reality. I don't know if any of you have any of those goggles, that kind of the VR headsets. It's changing the customer experience. You know, being able to, not even just the goggles, but even with your phone, being able to see if a piece of furniture would look good in your home just by taking a photo of your living room. It's honestly wild. I don't even know how they get the dimensions right. So it is something I'd like to learn more about. But it's the next big thing, and they're constantly optimizing it. And right now, yes, you have these like bulky VR goggles, but you know, our phones used to be attached to the wall. So who's to know what's going to come and how things are going to change? So it's important to kind of stay tuned and always kind of keep track of that. Voice commerce. These are your Alexas, your Siris. Alexa, order me a 6-pack of toilet paper from Amazon. You know, these voice commerce, these are your voice assistants. And it's also changing the amount of things that we're going to be able to control in our home or with our wallet just by saying it out loud. I'm excited and intrigued to know what that's going to look like. Another important thing is sustainability and corporate social responsibility. With the technology growing and changing in so many different ways and at the speed of light, it's important to stay informed on, okay, what as a business owner is my ethical responsibility to use these tools and these advancements in technology in a way where I am keeping the well-being of my audience and consumers in mind. It's important to kind of have that in mind, because a sustainable company is one that keeps their customers happy and healthy. You know, if your customers trust you and they trust that what you're doing it has their best interest in mind, then they're going to stick by you. And last but not least, automation, efficiency, and digital strategies. All kinds of automation when it comes to, for example, you know, in e-commerce or in accounting software. You know, nowadays you don't need to go through so many steps in order to figure out your budgets or your, you know, return on investment. You can submit that into different programs. You can track it on programs, and it helps you automate these kind of things. In the manufacturing business, automating the logistics, automating the you know, what goes in, what goes out, how many sales did we have this quarter, how much product do we need for the next one, do we need more, do we need less? We now have tools to help logistics managers work with this and make their life a little bit easier, but also save time. You know, we can work on other things if we have tools helping us reduce time for that. A little bit about artificial intelligence in marketing. AI is now everywhere. And I know a lot of people are nervous about what this means for the future of, you know, the market and everything. But for now, what it means is it's a tool. AI is a wonderful tool that can be used to help make your life and your job easier, whether it's analyzing data and interpreting data, personalizing customer experience, automating repetitive tasks so that you don't have to spend hours doing the same spreadsheet over and over again, helping identify audiences and targeting advertising to specific audiences, helping you understand your audience and in which ways are they segmented. You know, because one audience means different kinds of segmentation. You don't just have one homogenous audience. You have, you know, your soccer moms that go grab coffee in the morning. You have your students that grab coffee in the afternoon. Segmenting these customers helps you understand how to target them separately. As well as you also have design and inspiration search. if you are in the creative industry, using AI for ideas and inspiration, it's extremely helpful in creating your own pieces. So to conclude, some of the conclusions that we have come up with through our experience, through what we've seen in the industry, is we've seen a rise of e-commerce. People especially after 2020, people were shopping from home, and the ease of shopping from home and just from a click of a button has become a whole new giant in the industry. If you are a brick and mortar store without an e-commerce shop, it's difficult to get to where you want to be without it. Growth of video content. We have our TikToks, we have our short form content, you have YouTube Reels. People, it's more engaging to see that short form video content. You also have an increase in influencer marketing. Many companies, many big brands today, for example, Dunkin' Donuts, every single quarter, you're going to see them with a new celebrity, a new influencer promoting their new drink. And it's because people resonate with these influencers, have audiences. And if you want to speak to their audiences, it's good to partner with these influencers. Greater focus on personalization. Data-driven personalization has it's changed the game completely for what it means to speak to your audiences. Understanding your audience means that you can personalize their experience, which leads to more satisfaction. And you can use this using data and technology, personalizing these messages, offers, and experiences for each customer, making their customer journey one that feels unique to them and special and satisfactory. There's also a huge shift towards using your phone. I don't know about you guys, but I honestly, other than working on it, I barely use my computer. I really don't use my computer that often. I use my phone pretty much for everything now. And it's just the convenience. If there's one thing I want you to get away from this presentation, is that convenience is the most motivating thing for your audiences. So how can you make your audiences feel like their lives are more convenient with your services or products or any kind of value that you have brought? There's also a rise in, virtual assistants, voice search, Siri, Alexa. Again, convenience. It's more convenient to just speak out loud to an empty room than to Google it on your phone. And emphasis on data privacy and security. I'll say it one last time. Everybody wants your data. So everybody wants it. So how can you protect your data? How can you protect your customers' data? And how can you also use that data in a responsible way to make your customers' experience more satisfactory and to understand them better? And thank you so much for listening. I am now open for any kind of questions. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Catalina. I think you touched on some pretty important factors that we don't think about, right? It's everything is data driven. Everything, there's always a reason too, which is why we hire great folks like yourself and Alejandra to manage it. So I'm going to go ahead and pause before I start asking my questions. Does anybody have any questions for Catalina?
I just wanted to say this was really informative and a lot of good information that I think we wouldn't normally think about, right? I think for us, even as consumers, you just look at the pictures and go, oh, that's great. And oh my gosh, yes, I have to. It's the FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. You're like, oh my God, everybody else is using it. They look 20 times younger. Oh my God, I gotta buy that, So it is amazing, like all of everything, I guess, but the behind the scenes, it's kind of like the Wizard of Oz. It's like we're peeking behind the curtain of everything that goes into it. And it's, yeah, it's more than I think I had ever imagined. And I'm glad that's not my job.
It definitely is. Go ahead, Catalina.
No, I'm happy that this could be really informative to you. And yes, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, and it's important to understand what matters to your audiences, but also as a consumer yourself, it's important to kind of sometimes think critically of what you're seeing, like, okay, is this really something that's for like just general users of this brand, or is this a targeted thing? And it doesn't make it, good or bad. It's just important to be aware that, having a targeted approach can be very satisfying as a consumer, because they can make my life more convenient. They can understand what I value very much. But it's always good to be aware.
Yeah, it's like it's really scary sometimes. It's like, my husband and I always joke that like the algorithm knows what we want before we even know it. And we did an experiment. It was several summers ago. We had some friends over, and somebody was talking about, I don't know, some product. And then all of a sudden, like, all of us got home, and over that weekend, everybody that had social media somehow got served up that product. Like, oh my gosh, they're listening to us. So yeah, it's crazy. Thank you so much. It was so informative.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
And I think Dwayne has his hands up. Dwayne, don't be shy. Go ahead and unmute.
Okay, thank you. And I really enjoyed your presentation, Catalina. I think some big takeaways for me was about content and the consistency of content, something that I'm making sure that I, utilize in some of my marketing. And the other thing, strategic. Two kind of go-to words now. I'm going to start having more strategy in my, efforts. So those are two things I like. But I was trying to track one thing. You mentioned about KPIs and metrics, and you gave us my KPIs were a more specific goal-related effort as opposed to my metric. What was that? And I missed that last portion on the metrics. That I just want to capture that.
Yeah, of course. So metrics are trackable, and you basically use metrics to track if you're on the right direction to reach your KPIs. You use metrics to see if you're on the right track for your KPIs. So if your KPI is, I want to have more followers in this account, then you will use the metrics of your digital marketing strategy of, let's say you have a whole new campaign that you want to, start posting twice a week, every week. That is your new strategy. And now you can start saying, okay, ever since I started that, I've been tracking, 1 or 2 new followers per month, which is starting to reach to my KPI. And so at the end of the year, you can start saying, okay, so it took, let's say, 120 posts to reach 30 new followers, which helped me get to a goal, my KPI goal, which was to reach new followers. Now, if you want to have more specific KPIs, like saying, I want to reach 200 followers, then it's more than anything, you can't have like a time set for that. You have to just see as the process goes along, seeing what the metrics are telling you, what posts your current followers are engaging with, what, if you posted something different and got a new subscriber or a new follower, trying to make more things like that and tracking your results as metrics in order to reach your goal as a KPI. I hope that made sense.
It does. I was pretty much there. I just want to make sure I understood it the way you explained it. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm really, this has been helpful for you.
It has been. Thank you.
Thank you, Dwayne. Any other questions? Okay. I have one question, Catalina. I know there are, to those that are newer to social media or newer to the digital marketing world and they're doing it themselves for their business or personally trying to brand themselves. I know that there are platforms out there where you could use it, where you could like schedule posts and it actually gives you the analytics itself, like what your audience is. Is it primarily female, male? This is, when you get the most traction on your site. Can you give us a little like some tips of kind of where to start, like some beginner friendly platforms?
Yeah, so we use Hootsuite. We also use Meta. When it comes to programming post, I am not the authority on that because we usually have social media managers that are constantly posting, manually. But for data analytics, we use Hootsuite, Meta. We use Google Analytics for websites and such. And these programs, they're pretty user friendly. The way that I find it easiest to read is to set kind of the time limit. I like seeing the before and after. So let's say you want to see your progress this month from the next month. I would wait for a few months to get some data and then start seeing progress month to month. And instead of just seeing everything all at once. But really, it is pretty user-friendly, and it depends on your goals. If you want to get your audience more, if you want to understand your audience more, then I would focus on your social media content and your engagement rates and how many people you reach, how many people saw your post versus how many people engaged with it. I would focus more on the content that is really resonating with your audiences, and then learning what kind of people resonated with it.
Okay, thank you. And again, it's good to do your research, everyone out there, because everybody has a different audience. So there's not a straight answer across the board. But it's good to do your research and see what works for you and see what your audience is, and what you're trying to get out there. I guess my last question is, I know the posting content frequently is very important. Is there any other way to make sure you get into the algorithm that you want? Like, is there a hashtag is it tagging people? Is it, kind of replying to comments? Like, what do you suggest? Is it all of the above?
It's pretty much all of the above, but I do want to emphasize that frequency is the most important.
Okay.
If you are posting on a frequent schedule, then the algorithm, it will keep you in mind more often than not, because that's really, if people are expecting to see a new post every week or two posts every week, then that's going to keep it top of mind and top of algorithm, because it is a tricky one. If you stop posting for a certain time length, the algorithm will kind of drop you into the abyss. So it is important. It's always important to interact and engage, especially with different like partnerships, different kinds of, if you're in, different areas that your audiences are also involved in. But content really is king, and having it be consistent and frequent, and doesn't have to be 5 posts a week, as little as 1 post per week, 1 post, 1 story per week, and then working up from there if possible, as long as you're keeping a very consistent posting schedule.
Okay. Yeah, and I think it's important also to note that it's not just like you're posting a flyer. It's like you're posting videos, you're posting live. There's all different ways where you can make it engaging and personable and interesting to your audience, right? So thank you. And again, this is things that I've learned working with you all. So thank you so much for giving us this information to our members also. If we are going to be posting this video on our website, so if you find anybody could find it useful, please direct them to the video on our website. We will be having the same workshop all in Spanish next week. So thank you for translating everything for our Hispanic community as well. So if you know of anybody or if you feel more comfortable in the Spanish language or know of somebody, please direct them. It's going to be next Thursday, same time at 11:30 with Alejandra Palez, which is on the call. So another, the expert on everything. So please let us know if you have any questions. Again, my name is Laura Gaftos. I'm the Program and Events Director with Michigan Hispanic Chamber. So I'm in charge of bringing these programs to you wonderful folks. And we're going to go ahead and stop recording. Thank you so much. If anybody wants to stay on the line to ask any questions offline, please do so. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. And thank you for all the nice comments in the chat. I appreciate it.
And Catalina, you guys have been such a great partner with MHCC. I'm on the board of directors, and so Patricia goes through all the analytics with us, and I will say that the partnership has been, I think, very fruitful for MHCC. We're getting so many new people to come to events, and I think just the combination of the MHCC team and all of you, it's just been a wonderful partnership. And so I just wanted to thank you all for your efforts, because I think the message is getting out there now more than it ever has.